Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. Sabbath blessings, everyone. This morning, we're going to be speaking of food is medicine. How many of you believe that? Or can be? Yes. This is just a brief guide to good health and nutrition. There's also a disclaimer in this presentation that the content, contained here is not intended to provide or does not constitute medical or health care advice. How do we use food as medicine? Think of food as medication. It is the single most important thing you can control when it comes to your health. For most patients, eating properly is more important than any medication your doctor will prescribe. We feel proper nutrition is a vital part of your healthcare prescription. This includes weight loss if necessary and eating a balanced diet. Also, when we eat whole foods as nature made them without artificial additives and preservatives. And this is coming from the McFarland Clinic in Iowa. And the report says, I researched and found a report from Dr. McMacken. She's an MD, assistant professor of medicine at New York University School of Medicine. She states of the 10 leading causes of death in the United States, at least seven, including the top 4, are directly related to diet choices. These conditions include heart disease, cancer, lung disease, cerebrovascular disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and kidney disease. Nearly half of all deaths due to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes are due to poor suboptimal diet. We now know that a poor diet is responsible for more deaths from chronic disease at the population level than smoking. Most of our patients know that it's probably not a good idea to smoke, but I don't think they have a sense of the magnitude of the importance of the food choices that we are making every day. And listen to this. We have the power to prevent about 80% of chronic disease through simple lifestyle habits, and of those, nutrition is at the top of the list, Dr. McMacken continued to say. Now, there are 3 categories that foods are listed. Foods and eating patterns fall into 3 different categories. They are healthful or healthy, debatable, and unhealthy or unhealthful. So let's look at the healthful, including whole grains, legumes, which are pictured there, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds are foods which have a very broad consensus that they promote health and prevent disease. Let's look at the unhealthy. Let's look at that. Mercy. Foods labeled as unhealthful, including processed meat, red meat, added sugar, refined grains, and ultra-processed foods, have a broad consensus that they produce harm. Now, I looked up a little bit of information about what is ultra-processed foods. They are made mostly from substances extracted from foods, such as fats, starches, added sugars, and hydrogenated fats. Examples of these foods are frozen meals, soft drinks, hot dogs, and cold cuts, fast food, packaged cookies, cakes, and salty snacks. Unhealthy. Now, debatable. Foods labeled as debatable, including poultry, eggs, dairy, and fish, have shown both benefits and harms per Dr. McMacken. But I have some statements that I want to share with you that might take the debatable off the table. It says, The light given me is that it will not be very long before we shall have to give up any animal food. Even milk will have to be discarded. Disease is accumulating rapidly, which we know that. The curse of God is upon the earth, and this is from Counsels on Diets and Foods. Tell them that the time will soon come when there will be no safety in using eggs, milk, cream, or butter, because disease in animals is increasing in proportion to the increase of wickedness among men. That's from Testimonies from the Church. Disease in the animals is the reason given for these statements. The contamination of the source and the method of handling would seem to justify the discontinuance of dairy products from one's diet. Now, in summary, let's talk about some of the bottom lines. As healing does not hinge solely on diet or lifestyle, choosing to forego a potentially life-saving medical treatment to focus on diet alone can be dangerous or even fatal. Let us use our God-given wisdom. Simply transitioning to a diet rich in whole foods like fruits and vegetables is the simplest way to reap the medicinal benefits of food. Food does much more than simply provide you with fuel. It may promote or worsen health depending on what you eat. Let's look at a couple of scriptures. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat or for food. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And lastly, 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do all to the glory of God. And when we do that, when we give God all the glory, we will want to glorify him in what we eat and what we drink and what we do. Thank you. Happy Sabbath.